When you visit a museum to view an ancient artifact, you'll usually find a plaque explaining what it is and where it came from. In some museums, you might even have access to an audio guide or a tour guide to give you more in-depth context. But not every discovery arrives with answers. Even with all the knowledge and resources at our hands today, there are still things that leave scientists and experts completely puzzled. Let's see if you can come up with your own theories about the strange things you're about to witness in this video. Let's kick off this countdown with number 15, Mochi Iguana icon. We're starting our journey in Peru for this weird riddle, the Mochi Iguana figure. If ancient mythology is accurate, this odd creature was the companion of a sky deity known as Wrinkle Face. The belief systems of the Mochi people, who lived roughly 2,000 years ago, aren't easy to interpret. But one thing historians agree on is that Wrinkle Face is rarely depicted without this iguana-like figure by his side. The Mochi were accomplished engineers, known for their aqueducts and mud brick pyramids, some of which still stand today. Yet this figure, always looking directly at Wrinkle Face, never elsewhere remains a mystery. In certain depictions, it even wears a vulture as a headdress. But since the Mochi had no written language, we're left to guess its meaning. Was it symbolic? Religious? Personal? Whatever it was meant to represent, the answer may have been lost when the last Mochi artist carved it from clay. For now, it remains frozen in worship, silent, strange, and staring up at a forgotten god. Number 14. Ancient nail with 6 faces. Until 2020, nobody had noticed the strange nail embedded within the ruins of Borgholm Castle in Sweden. It's tiny, just under 2 inches tall, but the detail on its head is what makes it so peculiar. It bears 6 distinct faces, arranged together in a distorted, overlapping design. Strangely, the 6 faces share only 6 eyes, rather than the expected 12. Some speculate that it could depict Janus, the Roman god of duality, but Janus is traditionally shown with just 2 faces, not 6. And there's no known Roman deity with this exact appearance. The castle itself dates back over 800 years, though much of it was destroyed by fire in 1806. For centuries, it served many roles, including a noble residence and prison. As for the nail, there's no certainty about its origin or symbolism. It may be Roman, or perhaps it was left by an entirely different culture. Until a deeper study is done, its meaning, like the faces it bears, remains fractured and unresolved. Number 3, Bokea de Potraillos petroglyphs. Mexico's deserts hold more mysteries than ruins, and Bokea de Potraillos in the Mina region is one of them. This open-air site is packed with petroglyphs, thousands etched across boulders and rock faces. These carvings date back to pre-Hispanic times, but exactly who made them and for what reason remains uncertain. What's especially striking is the sheer scale of the site. In an otherwise barren landscape, it feels oddly deliberate, chosen for a purpose we still don't understand. Spanish colonists left no record of any established civilization in northeastern Mexico at their arrival, leaving historians to speculate. Some credit the Aztecs. Others suggest the Chichimeca or Comanche. But there's also evidence that the carvings might predate all 3. Clay ovens found nearby have been carbon dated to around 11,000 years ago, placing them at the very edge of known settlement in the Americas. If that's accurate, the creators may have been the Coahuiltecan or even earlier hunter-gatherers. But their names, like their purpose, are now lost to time. Number 12. Schwang pottery face. Back in 1985, archaeologists found over 600 ancient pottery pieces in Schwang village, which is located in China. Most of them are now housed at the Anhui Bengbu Museum and attract steady public interest. But one particular piece steals attention instantly. It's a clay face, likely female, that some believe is the oldest artistic attempt to portray a human smile in history. Using carbon-14 dating, the artifact was found to be roughly 7,300 years old. Nothing else in the entire Schwangdun collection resembles it. It's also the only one without early Chinese script, which makes its uniqueness stand out even more. For some researchers, the figure hints at a matriarchal society, perhaps ruled by a priestess or sorceress. This face could even be a representation of her. However, other theories suggest the markings on her forehead may point toward worship of a sun deity. All of it is guesswork for now. We don't know who she was, but her smile, frozen in time, still stares through thousands of years. What I know, she was beautiful. Number 11. Eve Sep's footprint. Eve's footprint doesn't refer to the biblical Eve, though the name hints at a deep human origin. Back in 1995, near the shores of South Africa's Langebaan Lagoon, researchers discovered a series of preserved human footprints. Believed to have been made by a woman, they date back roughly 117,000 years. That makes them the oldest known footprints left by a modern human. The conditions that preserved them were almost accidental. A sudden rainstorm turned a sand dune into clay, capturing her steps. Not long after, dry sand buried the trail beneath 30 feet of sediment, locking it away for millennia. The prints are 8.5 inches long, equivalent to a U.S. women's size 7.5 shoe. She walked at a time when Homo sapiens were just emerging. Tools from the same era have since been found nearby. But as ancient as these footprints are, they weren't the first. Someone had to have given birth to her, and so the deeper mystery is who came before. Number 10. Pictish handprint in Scotland. On the Scottish island of Rousay, archaeologists found a 1500-year-old anvil bearing something remarkably human, a handprint left behind by a Pictish metalsmith. The Picts once ruled northern Britain for over a millennium, but left behind no written language, only scattered objects, cryptic symbols, and vanished settlements. This handprint is one of the clearest personal traces ever found. After cleaning the stone, experts also found faint impressions of knees and palms, marking exactly how the blacksmith knelt and worked in the dim light of his forge. It's likely he gauged the metal's heat not by instruments, but by the glow it emitted in the darkness. The Picts vanished around the year 900 without explanation, leaving historians guessing at their fate. Even the name Pict comes from Roman accounts and refers to their painted bodies. Their real name is lost, and their language is forgotten. But this print, pressed into stone, speaks across centuries, not with words, but with the ghost of a craftsman's presence still etched into the rock. Number 9. Head of King Henry IV. The question of what happened to King Henry's head has baffled France for generations. During the French Revolution, his grave was desecrated, and his remains were thrown into a mass burial site. His head, however, was removed, and what followed is a maze of uncertainty. For decades, rumors swirled. One popular tale claimed it was rediscovered in the attic of Jacques Bélanger, a retired French tax official, who said he bought it privately in 1953. But this claim is hard to verify. For one, the head still had a brain intact, something unlikely, as embalming practices at the time involved removing internal organs before burial. Oddly enough, Henry IV wasn't even a cruel monarch. Nicknamed Good King Henry, he helped reunify France in the 17th century and promised that every citizen would have chicken in their pot on Sundays. Among all the royal villains in French history, he wasn't one of them. And yet, his head remains the most lost of all. Number 8. Stele de Navalara. Very little is known for certain about the Navalara stele. It was found near the Italian town of Navalara and dates back roughly 2,600 years. The inscription on the stone is written in a version of the Etruscan alphabet known as North Picene. But the problem is, while we can recognize the characters, we don't understand the language. The reverse side features a hunting scene, possibly related to the text, but that's just speculation. The bigger puzzle is the origin of the language itself. We don't know where North Picene came from or who spoke it. That also means we don't really know who made the stele. They might have been part of the Etruscan world, or they could have been a separate civilization altogether. Scholars have tried for over 130 years to translate the text, but every attempt has failed. Until someone cracks the language, the Navalara stele remains just a beautifully carved stone from a society that left no other voice behind. Number 7. Notre Dame Cathedral Sarcophagus, France. The 2019 fire that devastated this cathedral was sad, but in its aftermath, archaeologists gained rare access to hidden sections of the cathedral. One of the most fascinating finds was a lead sarcophagus buried deep beneath the structure. Believed to date back to the 14th century, the sarcophagus carries no identifying markings. Its discovery raises a series of unanswered questions. It had been buried nearly 65 feet underground, concealed beneath a 19th century heating system. Its very presence was unknown, suggesting it may have been placed in secret. No other burials have ever been recorded within the cathedral itself, making this one even more remarkable. Whoever this person was, they must have held significant importance to be laid to rest in such a sacred space. Yet no inscription, symbol, or document has explained their identity. For now, the lead coffin remains sealed, but researchers plan to open it. Until they do, the mystery remains a forgotten figure buried beneath one of the most iconic churches in the world. Number 6. Indian Stone Labyrinth. The word labyrinth brings ancient Greek myths to mind, but similar patterns have appeared elsewhere, like the huge 56-square-foot stone labyrinth discovered in Gedimadu. Found by researchers from the Vera Rajendran Archaeological and Historical Research Center, this structure dates back about 2,000 years. It mirrors the same labyrinth pattern seen on 3,200-year-old clay tablets found in Pylos, Greece. That's what makes it so unusual. It's the second largest labyrinth ever found in India and possibly the oldest. The site is located near an important ancient trade route, but it's still unclear whether there's a connection. Some historians believe Indian labyrinths were fertility symbols, but that theory doesn't fully explain the purpose of this one. Its layout is too exact, too deliberate. How did a pattern seen in Greece end up carved into Indian stone? No texts were found nearby and no records mention its use. Whatever the labyrinth once meant, its precise geometry and quiet presence suggest it served a role long forgotten. Number 5. Tamt monolith. There are many reasonable theories surrounding the site of Tamt in Mexico's Huastec jungle, but very few confirmed facts. Two core mysteries keep the intrigue alive. First is the massive stone monolith depicting a woman flanked by two decapitated women, leading some scholars to believe the site was once used by an unknown order of powerful high priestesses. The second is the recurring appearance of the number 13 on the monument, which strongly implies it may be a lunar calendar, but there's a problem with that. The structure dates back around 2,600 years, placing it nearly 2,000 years before the earliest known calendar in the Americas. Could it have been created by early Huastec people? Did the Olmecs reach farther than we thought? Or are we looking at the last trace of a long-lost female-led society we know nothing about? That last theory is tempting, but without further evidence, there's no real way to confirm any of it. Number 4. Beersheba ship engravings, Israel. In 2018, researchers studying a Roman-era water cistern in Beersheba found something totally unexpected: carvings of ships etched into the walls. The massive cistern, nearly 40 feet deep, dates back about 2,000 years. While some of the graffiti-like images show animals and humans in crude form, the ship engravings stand out. They're detailed, showing construction features like hull shapes and masts. Whoever carved them had a solid understanding of naval design. That in itself raises questions. Beersheba is far from the coast, so why would someone with maritime knowledge be here? Was it a traveler passing through, or someone who had once worked at sea? Even more great is the fact that these fragile markings survived. Ammunition shells and weapon fragments from World War I were later found in the sediment inside the cistern. Had a single shell struck the chamber, the artwork would have vanished forever. Instead, the drawings remained buried until the day modern hands uncovered these forgotten sketches of ancient ships. Number 3. Nazca alien mummies. Statues that defy explanation are difficult enough, but what about organic-looking relics pulled from Peru's Nazca region? These bizarre mummies appear to resemble extraterrestrial beings. One in particular looks like a stretched head with narrow slits where eyes might have been. Some believe it's a mummified skull. Flip it over and it shows what looks like bone marrow and vertebrae. A radiologist in Cusco ran an X-ray scan and was convinced it wasn't fake. It had proper eye sockets and sinuses. And it's unlikely a forger would bother with anatomical details like that. Then there's a three-fingered hand to consider, which appears to have been skin and bone before being sealed in clay and buried. X-rays show 6 bones per finger. Human fingers have 3. Dismissing these pieces as hoaxes is easy, but the X-ray scans suggest otherwise. Whether they're hoaxes or real, we're left with only fragments and conflicting opinions. Until more concrete testing happens, they remain another layer in Nazca's long-standing enigma. Number 2. Abraham Lincoln Sipp's Pocket Watch. Lincoln, like many 19th century gentlemen, owned a gold pocket watch. But this particular timepiece held more than gears. It carried a secret message. Inside, etched into the watch's inner workings, is an inscription from watchmaker Jonathan Dillon, dated April 13, 1861. The brief note reads, "Fort Sumter was attacked by rebels. Thank God we have a government." Dillon engraved it while repairing the watch in Washington, D.C. on the very day the American Civil War began. Lincoln likely never knew the message existed. It wasn't visible without disassembling the piece, and there's no evidence he was ever told. The hidden engraving remained a family secret for over a century until Dillon's great-great-grandson, Doug Stiles, contacted the National Museum of American History. When the watch was opened in 2009, the message was still there. Lincoln unknowingly carried that moment of history with him in his pocket for the rest of his life. It's a silent artifact of a war that would define his presidency and reshape a nation. Number 1. The Swan-shaped bronze pot of San Menxia. A rare bronze vessel shaped like a swan was uncovered during construction in San Menxia, Henan province. Inside the undisturbed tomb, archaeologists found not only this elegant pot but also a bronze helmet, an iron sword, and a jade ceremonial blade, suggesting the grave belonged to a high-ranking warrior. What makes the swan vessel truly unusual is the liquid sealed within it, untouched for over 2,000 years. Nearly 3,000 milliliters of a yellowish-brown fluid remain, still intact despite the centuries. Its composition is unknown, but recent studies show that it contains ancient wine from the Han Dynasty. No similar bronze container has ever been found in this part of China, making both its design and its contents a rarity. The shape appears symbolic, but the meaning is unclear. All we know is that it's a beautiful thing created by beautiful ancient Chinese people. So what's your take on that? Well, drop your theory below, and we really hope you've enjoyed watching this video. If you did, please like it, share it, and hit the subscribe button for more content like this. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.